What's good, fam? Welcome to Subs Over Dubs anime review of Chainsaw Man. I'm Vision, here with my co-host Rebel, and today we'll be talking about episode 2. Again, initial thoughts of the episode, things we did like that we didn't like, and it looks like for the first time we're gonna kind of give a little review of the outro as well. So some additional features to go over, but just starting off the top, I'll give a little bit of my feedback. Hated the voice acting. This is exactly why I'm a sub guy. Dub for Makima and Power, terrible. I hate it, especially Power. Like, it's like...
My man hated it so much, he skipped the actual review and went straight to how much he hates the dub acting.
I mean, it's part of the review.
It is. I just thought we're going to have some structure in here.
Oh,
This man...
This is how bad it is.
Look, I'll tell you this.
It has to be addressed.
I'll tell you this. I just got done watching it. It wasn't that bad. Well, go ahead. In my opinion,
I want you guys to watch the sub version, then watch the dub version. You don't even have to watch the whole episode. Just listen to when Power talks. Makima's not terrible, but Power is definitely, it's like, you're getting so close to like nails on a chalkboard bad, in my opinion. It
Really?
just doesn't fit.
to me, it was the opposite. I think Makima's was just bland as hell. Like, no emotion, no...
Well, that's her character.
And then Power, I actually looked up the dub actress, and she has a lot of credits in dubbed anime, so I could see where I seen that seasonedness, and I was like, okay, it's not terrible. It doesn't fit the character, yeah, but it's better than Makima, I'll tell you that.
I didn't look at Power's voice actor for the dub, but I looked at some of the voice actors for Denji and Aki and Makima.
Mm-hmm.
None of them are in any big anime that I can like identify.
Yeah.
Because I thought Aki voice actor dub was, I thought his voice was familiar, but it's fairly
I thought
new.
he was, and you're talking about in the dub, right?
Yes.
I thought he was Fuegoleon from Black Clover, because I did watch that in dub, and then I was like, okay, I can see where it kind of sounds like him, but he wasn't credited
What
for
character?
Fuegoleon from...
That's the fire guy?
The fire guy. That's
Is that the
sounded.
younger one or the older one?
The older one,
Yeah.
the big brother. That's who he initially sounded like, and then I looked him up and didn't see too many like credits. Denji's voice, however, he voiced... Man, I'm already spacing on the name. So that My Hero Academia movie we saw.
Yes,
we saw it.
I seen.
We saw it in sub.
But still, that's not.
It's not a major role.
That's it. Well, I'm not gonna say it's not a major role, but he's not a prominent character in the series. Like, this is his first, I guess, A1 role.
He's gonna be the main character type of thing, yeah.
So, I thought the Aki's character, I don't know his dubbed actor's name. I apologize. I put it in the video for you guys if you're curious. But just none of them really had extensive. Not gonna say extensive. In my opinion, they didn't have a lot of spotlight characters, and if they did, it wasn't like a mainstream anime. You know,
yeah, for sure.
Not saying necessarily that's a bad thing, but they all look like they worked their way up, and this is kind of a lot of
like
their
a break.
For all the.
I agree. I don't think Aki's voice is bad by any means. I think a little bit more emotion would be cool. But to me, the dub wasn't terrible. In the beginning, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I was first watching episode 2, it was terrible. I was like, all right, I might actually lose this one, you know, like I was going to want to stick up for them because episode 1 wasn't terrible. So I was like, okay, you know, it might be comparable. But as the episode continued, it got better. But I think the only reason it got better, now that I'm thinking about it, is the comedic break. So like whether it's Japanese or English, you're going to find what happened funny. Yeah.
So like,
I don't know if it's because the voice acting was good or was it the writing? Like, because in Japanese I laughed, and then like, you know, when he was talking about the nut devil, that was just funny. So I'm like,
it's just the writing and the theme of what's going on. So like, when he's like, when I fight a man, I kick him in the nuts, and he literally just kicks him in the nuts the whole fight. So like, you're gonna be laughing.
It's hard to be like, is it because of the writing or was the voice acting not that bad? Because you would think you wouldn't laugh with it.
Because here's the problem, like, so Aki, you don't like him kind of the way his character was portrayed, but that's kind of supposed to, he's supposed to be cool, calm, collected. Same thing with Makima, emotionless, right? So when we see those voices come in an English form, that's why it feels so off. It's like, I don't like it. It doesn't really fit. It's supposed to fit the character based on like their personalities, but when you give it the English version of it,
it just looks
it doesn't.
It just sounds like
it doesn't fit. So Power, for example, she's super like eccentric. Like I'm the power. I'm literally
yeah.
I'm the power. Like you're beneath me. But hearing it in English is just like it's forced.
To me, I like Power. What I didn't like, to your point, like Makima just sounded bland, and maybe that is their character, and maybe we're just used to it when it sounds like that in Japanese. It just sounds better, but yeah, I was
because
like,
it brings it out.
Was an L for me. Denji was an L in the beginning when he talks normally. I'm not with it, but the moment he kind of starts talking a little crazy or getting loud, Denji's voice actor is not that bad, but it's just those like, I'm thinking about how many times always gonna have regular conversations like you and I are having in that series. Well, that's gonna turn me off more so than those occasional when he does go crazy or get loud. There's gonna be more of those normal conversations than him. So in that aspect, I'm like, sub has got it. Like I'm gonna continue wanting to watch this in sub. Obviously, we're gonna watch it in dub for like the reviews, but just going off episode 2, that from 1 and 2 was a big change for me. Like it was a turn off almost.
Another thing that came to my mind, I don't remember saying Denji's voice actor was necessarily bad, and to this point I don't think he's necessarily bad. But when he had those conversations with Makima, you start to see the horny young guy, and he starts you have that introvertness of him being sheltered or whatever you want to say, and he's just weird now. And maybe that's how the character is they're supposed to be portraying the character, but I feel like when it comes to this is why I said what I said in our first initial podcast about when you compare subbed and dubbed. It's intended for Japanese audiences, so it's in Japanese, and I feel like the range of how they talk fits the characters
of how their culture
period. It just fits the characters well. Like the range of how they say things, the way they say them, it fits. It's more in line versus dub. Like again, I don't remember saying anything too negative about Denji's voice acting. My apology. Coming into this episode, his exchanges with Makima, it was kind of corny, but maybe that's just kind of the situation they're trying to portray Denji. He's just a young corny dude, so he's like doing all these different things, but like his conversations with Aki it was more natural. It didn't feel as bad.
I feel like what they try to do is I feel like they're trying to Americanize it. So it's like, and if you notice, like when I was watching it, they didn't translate everything exactly. Like they switched it up, and I think they're doing that to try to appeal to like
how we would
say it, but we're like, no, we want it the other way. So if they would just verbatim, and then have that and just say it the exact same way, I think we would like it more, give us more emotion, be more, like of their culture, it would be okay. But they try to water it down to where it's like, this is how he'd sound if he was American. It's like, we don't want that. We just want it translated in English, which, that it would help people who are new to anime, right? Like that want to watch it but aren't on sub yet. But then it gives it that notion of, oh, dub actors are bad. And I don't think they're bad. I think they're just, in a way, it's like when you see a bad movie and you're like, well, the acting was good, but the writing was terrible. That's kind of how it is. It's like a director's thing. Like, hey, you're going to do it like this, but we're going to like Americanize it. And then I think that's where that disconnect of sub and dub happens. And I definitely seen that more so in this episode than I have seen in a lot of dub anime recently, actually.
So, yeah, I understand it's hard to translate one-to-one Japanese line for line to English because sometimes it may not make sense. But to you, what you were saying, dub actors, I don't think they're inherently bad, but I do think a lot of times, whether it be the director for his creative choices and how he wants to portray the characters, or them just trying to bring out a character in an English voice, it doesn't work a lot of times, in my opinion. And so, like when you get these characters like Power, how can you really portray that in the English language? You know what I'm saying? So like, one, her voice is fairly like kiddish, I guess, in a way. I don't know really how to explain it. In my opinion, that's just how I view it. And it's just, what she's saying is kind of what Power says in Japanese, but it just doesn't seem right in English.
It just doesn't fit the character.
Yeah, so it's just like,
that's fair.
I get off foot on that, and this is why I push for people coming into anime. Of course, if you can only watch anime in dub, great, watch it in dub, so you can see anime. But to get that full experience, I think you need to watch it in sub, because it just, this is a prime example. You kind of agree with me. I'm doubling down more so
saying, yeah.
sub versus the dub going in episode 2. Episode 1 was kind of, you know, you can go either way. It wasn't that bad.
It's an introduction episode.
Episode
it's
2,
it's kind of hard to.
we got introduced to some more characters.
Mhm.
That dynamic switch.
It sucks though because like I hate to agree with you, but I do in that sense. It just sucks because there are exceptions to that rule. There are maybe, just off the top, maybe like 10 dub actors that, like, you know, when they're in there, they're gonna hold it down. Like Chris Sabat when he does like a lot of those voice actors. So it just sucks that like there's only like a handful, and it's like they can't be in every anime, obviously. So then you become in these predicaments where you're like, okay, one voice dub actor might be okay, the other, and then you're starting to pick up people that, to your point, this is their first like maybe breakout role or main character role, and it just sucks. I'm like, man, I know that there's dub actors that are like, they're A1, and I'd even put them in some spots for Japanese sub actors, but because there's so many that are like, to your point, it just kind of waters down the whole overall spectrum of dub anime, you know.
I just think that transfer, like, it's hard to bring out those characters to life in the English language. It just, I think that's the biggest problem you run into. And then again, it could be the director's creative choice to kind of like draw out what kind of voice he wants to match the image.
For sure.
The other thing I would say is, you mentioned, you know, there's like I guess a handful we can say of dub actors that you can say anywhere they kind of go, it's gonna be a solid voice acting performance. If you flip it around, there's only really one Japanese voice actor that I know is like, they don't want to watch the anime because of the voice actor, and that's Goku in Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's true.
No one else stands out to us. Like, it's so bad. It's like, damn. The only one I can think maybe a close second is Black Clover. Early on, Asta, everyone hated his character because all he did was scream.
For sure.
Then I guess, I don't know if the story toned it down or the director changed it because he kind of got the feedback of everyone hating on the character. But once that adjustment was made, it was good. Everything else was solid. So that's why, again, in favor of sub, you don't get those situations where like, man, this voice actor, I can't stand it. The only thing you could say is like, if you're watching Japanese anime for the first time and you're listening to a sub, it's just the language itself. You're like, man, what the fuck, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because like 90% of the dub actors that I'm talking about, now that I'm thinking about it, they all voice One Piece in dub. So like Usopp's character in dub is like your A1. He plays Krillin, you know. Then you have Zoro, Chris Sabat, and then the one you were telling me about, the one that voices Luffy. She's in a handful of dub anime. You're like, okay, I know she's gonna be A1. Anything she does. So I'm like, man, you got like 6-7 good ones right then and there, but obviously they can't be in every single anime.
So they had to bring the Avengers together, basically.
They basically did.
To make basically
it brought it to make one. And I think One Piece is probably one of the best dubs. Like, if you're putting aside like Dragon Ball Z and things like that, like Naruto and One Piece are the only ones where I'm like, it could go. I could watch it either way. Every other anime, I'm always leaning a little towards more sub. And I think that's the hard part about me letting sub go, is because I grew up watching both of them in dub like that in the beginning, and then just, you know, I do like them in sub.
You get tapped into the real sauce, and you're like, I can't.
I don't want to lose that, you know, and that was cool. But
it's worth losing.
Back to Chainsaw Man episode 2. So with everything that we've given about the sub versus the dub, what did you think of the overall episode?
Outside of the voice acting, I mean, differences. I mean, that's gonna make essentially the episodes. That's gonna make the comparisons differ. So going past that, we both in agreement that sub, we probably say hands down, is a better overall episode choice for episode 2. Just going in the story, we got to see some of the new characters. They introduced Aki, they introduced Power. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anybody. I believe that's it. So we got to see the cool, calm, collected guy. Kind of, you know, you kind of look at him and get that vibe. Just from like, I guess the intro, everyone else kind of goofy, dancing around. He's just like, he's like smoking, like what
he's
the
like the
fuck's going on here?
Kakashi, you know, or like Gojo. You always have to have that one that's just laid back.
I guess, yeah, you need that edgy character, I suppose. But I liked it so far. You know, I've seen it in subbed already, so I kind of knew what we were looking at. But again, dub acting for him, I think it was fine. It wasn't overbearing. He didn't try to make his presence known, but I guess that's his character in itself. Like, he's calm, laid back. So, until he got to fighting with Denji over Makima, that's when you seen him a little bit more expressive.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Was there any shift from episode 1 to episode 2 where you were like, okay, now this got more interesting, or now, like this has piqued my interest more so, or was it just like another layer of what we're already
it's just another layer of world building. I mean, you get a lot. I feel as though you get a lot more comedy. I don't think we got as much in the first episode. I mean, we can laugh at what's going on, but this episode we had multiple scenes where you got to chuckle. He's getting kicked in the nuts repeatedly. He gets up,
nut devil.
He hit him. He OD'd on him. He kicked him in the nuts probably like 3 times when he's on the ground. He got up to square up again. He was like, I don't know, you're not gonna touch Makima or something. He goes, kicks him right in the balls instantly, right?
Yo, that was the funniest part of that episode, man. I've watched it like 3 times just because it's just such a funny interaction, and Aki's literally like, you really said that you only kick in the nuts. I did not believe that, and that man got worked.
Hey,
it's just, man, that's comedy right there. That's peak comedy.
Hey, Denji said how it was, man. He was playing around. He tripled down on the nutsack attack.
Facts.
So that
did in your opinion that score that we gave last week, did it go up based on that one episode, or is it still something that it's like, yo, we're still around the same, we just kind of need to see a little bit
7.5. I mean, it kind of carries over. We didn't get as much action. I mean, you see Power at the end. She looks like she might be OP. She just smashes the devil and like instantly dies. But I mean, I will keep it. I'd say I'd keep it at 7.5. You got some comedy in there, so that's a little bit of a shift. We didn't know how far they would take it. So with the nut attack and then him making sure he didn't use his powers just to save some pornos.
Yeah, that was fun.
So, you know what I'm saying? The character development's slowly happening. You see a little bit more about Denji. We're seeing his goals real time, what he wants, not realizing like, okay, his dream was just to eat decent food and be, I guess, around chicks, a beautiful chick. And he's kind of accomplished that. So now when Aki challenges him, like, what are you fighting for? Makes him think, and then he realizes there's a little bit more. Now, okay, I could have died happily knowing that I got to eat good food. I was around a very hot woman. Now, I got that. What's next? And now he's looking, okay, he's obsessed with boobs. Hey, nothing wrong with that.
The meaning of life.
Okay? Oop-bye. So, 7.5, I would still keep my grade there. It looks, the show looks promising. Characters look promising. It's just the dub version, in my opinion, we're gonna take side-to-side comparisons. It definitely lose some points just on voice acting, but the show itself, I would keep it at 7.5. There's a lot of potential still.
Cool. I agree. I think to your point, the comedy was kind of what carried the episode. There wasn't too much action, like you mentioned, maybe a little bit towards the end, but yeah, I'm excited. I want to keep watching. Obviously, we're gonna keep doing these reviews. 7.5 for me, 8.
So did it move, or is it the same?
It was roughly about the same.
Okay.
And there was something I wanted to say and I forgot, but
we'll go into the next topic, maybe a pop-up.
Sir.
So first time we got an outro. What'd you think?
Well, first, the last review I did talk about how I wasn't feeling the intro. I started, I was like, let me go ahead, and obviously we're watching episode 1 twice, episode 2 twice, and I said that it was like I was indifferent about it, but the more that I was listening to it, it really gave me like Jujutsu Kaisen vibes, and I started to like it. So I'm gonna change my initial I was meh to I downloaded it on my phone. I like it. It's pretty good. But as far as the outro, I think the outro was maybe a little bit better than the intro. In that sense, it was just kind of like a light-hearted, fun. It was just kind of funny because you have the intro, which is kind of like more heavier, I guess you could say. You have like a heavy.
I don't know. I mean, that one's like the intro, in my opinion, is like a go happy, cheerful vibe, more vibrant.
It has that rock, like and then it's, you know what I'm talking about?
I mean, I see it, what you're saying a little bit.
And then it kind of like lightens up towards the end of the outro. So I don't know. I liked it. It was kind of like you get like a really big start, and then it's like you kind of finish with almost like a melodic like exit.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I actually liked it better than the intro. So, and I re-listened to it again right before we started the podcast, and I was like, that's going in the phone too. So
I'm not putting it in my phone, but outro, it was okay. Just like the intro, it's like I'm indifferent. It was nothing special. I did like kind of the like art style so far in the outro. Like cool. I like the way it looked visually, but I wouldn't put it in my playlist per se.
Not even like top 10.
Top 10 though.
Top 10?
Hell no.
Top 20?
That wouldn't make it the playlist just cause.
It's not bad, bro. I like it.
It's not bad, but
I was just like vibing with it. I was like, you know what? I didn't give this a fair chance.
This is one of those outros or intros that I don't mind skipping. I'm not losing anything skipping. There's plenty of intros, outros that I'll definitely listen to. Like right now for this season of anime, a good outro. I know you haven't watched it yet, but Bleach has a really good outro that fits the series.
Can we go one podcast without mentioning Bleach? It's
hey,
bro.
Anybody?
I don't want to watch 100 episodes before it starts to get decent.
You don't. You only have to watch like 40.
I'm about to tell Harry on you. Anyways, so yeah, no, I like the intro, I like the outro, I like the episode. I'm just excited to see what continue happening for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, they got some stuff to build on. Again, like we got introduced to some more characters. Based on the intro, I think there's a few more characters we're gonna be shown that's gonna join the team. So we'll see how that turns out. And yeah, I think we have some good things to look forward to. Hopefully the sub doesn't overshadow the dub as much as it did this episode, but you know, we'll see.
For today, sub was over.
It's not even close.
Today,
it was not even close.
Sub won hands down.
Listen, guys,
no question.
This is the reason why I've chosen the name for the pod is because it's no comparison, guys. If you
guys biased.
Watch these 1-to-1, and he admitted it earlier, so I don't know why he's telling me I'm biased.
I'm talking about this particular anime, and you're talking about in general.
I am talking about in general. We just had a discussion about he can name 10 voice dub actors that do well, and I told him there's only one that comes to mind that no one likes in sub.
I'm gonna do some homework. I'm gonna get a list. I'm gonna compile some things, maybe throw some videos on TikTok, and we're gonna talk about this in the actual podcast this week.
Sounds good. So, could you think about what you wanted to bring up?
Nope, totally forgot.
It's all good. Well, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up for episode 2 of Chainsaw Man, our review. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Is it subs or is it dubs? I'm Vision. It's Rebel. Peace.
Later.
Get the composure together, man.
It's just every time. Hi.